Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Humanity's final weapon, a warship that doesn't just destroy. It erases. The siege of Vlok. The enemy fleet hovered in the darkness of space, its sleek, alien ships forming a blockade around the besieged planet Vlok. For centuries, the Vishari Dominion had ruled this sector with an iron grip, enslaving weaker species, crushing rebellions, and expanding their empire with ruthless efficiency. They had never feared any foe, until now. Until humanity arrived. Humanity's flagship, the UN Nemesis, loomed in the void like a monster of war forged from Earth's unrelenting defiance. Twice the size of any Vishari dread, its hull was blackened by the scars of 100 battles, and its armament bristled with weapons capable of tearing apart entire fleets. The name, Nemesis, was whispered like a death sentence among the alien ranks. On the bridge, Admiral Elias Varian stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the view screen. The Vishari fleet was vast, 300 warships against his lone battleship. The odds were, by all logical measures, impossible. Yet humanity never cared for logic when it came to war. "Admiral, they're hailing us," said Commander Sarah Holt in a steady voice. Varian exhaled slowly. "Let them speak." The alien's face flickered onto the screen, a reptilian creature draped in ceremonial armor, its golden scales reflecting the dim light. High Warlord Kesh of the Vishari Dominion glared at Varian with undisguised contempt. "Humans," Kesh hissed, "you defy the Dominion, yet you stand alone. Surrender your vessel, and I may grant your species a merciful death." With a chuckle and a shake of his head, Varian replied, "You don't understand, do you?" Almost amused, he continued, "We're not here to negotiate." Kesh's slitted eyes narrowed. "Then you have sealed your fate." With a slight nod, Varian gave the command, "Fire." The Nemesis roared to life. Its main cannon, an experimental weapon designed to harness the destructive power of a dying star, unleashed a beam of searing white energy. The first Vishari battleship it struck did not merely explode, it disintegrated, torn apart at the atomic level. In seconds, the Nemesis rained hell upon the enemy fleet. Rail guns fired at impossible velocities, slicing through shields as if they were paper. Swarms of autonomous drone fighters emerged from its hangars, weaving between enemy ships with surgical precision. Kesh's expression shifted from arrogance to horror. "Impossible," he snarled. "One ship cannot, one human warship is all it takes." Varian interrupted coolly, "You should have learned that when we burned your last colony to the ground. The battle was not a battle, it was a massacre. One by one, Vishari warships met their end in blinding explosions. Escape pods were ignored. Mercy was not on the agenda. Humanity had witnessed firsthand the atrocities, the enslaved colonies, the experimental torture of children, the systemic destruction of entire worlds. This war was not about survival alone, it was vengeance. As Varian watched the enemy fleet crumble into chaos, he recalled that the Vishari had once believed themselves the apex predators of the galaxy. They had never, until now, encountered a foe so driven by a desire to avenge the past. A twist in the battle. Yet, just as the Nemesis began its final orbital bombardment on Vlok, a twist rippled through the bridge's silence. Commander Holt hesitated before speaking again, "Sir, our sensors detect something anomalous." Before anyone could react, the view screen was hijacked by an unexpected transmission. Not from the Dominion, nor from any known neutral faction, it was from the Tani Confederacy. Tall, Aven-like creatures with silver feathers and piercing golden eyes appeared, their demeanor cool and calculated. "Admiral Varian," the Tani envoy began, "we have observed the carnage and we urge you to reconsider your path. The Dominion has suffered enough, yet if you annihilate them completely, humanity will not be seen as liberators, but as conquerors. History will not forgive you." Varian raised an eyebrow in quiet anger. "Were you there when the Dominion burned our colonies and slaughtered our people like cattle? Where was your intervention then?" The envoy did not flinch. We understand your anger, Admiral. But if this war continues, it will not be war, it will be extermination. The galaxy is watching, and your actions may provoke an alliance of empires against you. A murmur of disquiet rippled through the bridge. Some crew members, for the first time, allowed a glimmer of humanity to break through the hardened facade of the crew. Varian's eyes betrayed a fleeting emotion, a mix of regret and determination. Humanity did not survive the oppressive tyranny by befriending our enemies, he whispered, we survived by fighting. He then smirked coldly, dismissing the envoy's plea, let them try. The final assault on Trion 7. With renewed resolve, Varian ordered his ship to set course for Trion 7, a major supply hub for the Dominion's core fleets. Intelligence estimated the population at roughly 20 million Vishari, soldiers, civilians, and workers. For Varian, this was merely another strategic target, a hub that had underpinned the Dominion's endless war machine. The Nemesis began its devastating assault. Massive silos on the battleship opened, launching Hellstorm missiles that erupted in the upper atmosphere of Trion 7. The sky turned red, then black. Firestorms engulfed sprawling cities and industrial complexes. As drone fighters and rail guns carved a path of unrelenting destruction through enemy ranks, intercepted distress calls pleaded for mercy. But mercy, Varian knew, was a luxury lost in war. Just as the battlefield was mired in ash and ruin, a shocking transmission interrupted the deadly silence. High Warlord Kesh survives, reported an officer. Kesh demanded an audience, an opportunity to speak. Varian, unyielding, patched him through a second time. Kesh's voice, now free of the arrogance of his previous taunt, was tinged with barely contained fury and fear. You will suffer for your insolence, human, he growled. Varian's reply was icy, we merely return what you inflicted on us when we burned your colonies to the ground. This war was never a battle, it was a reckoning. Kesh's final accusation, monsters, was met with a cold laugh, you enslaved our people, you burned our worlds, and now you cry foul. No, Warlord, you made this war, and we are just finishing it. With that, the Nemesis continued its devastating trajectory. A new threat emerges. After decimating the Dominion supply hub and core worlds, Varian issued orders, set course for Coron Prime. The flagship sailed through the void, leaving behind a trail of fire and ruin. Coron Prime, the heart of the Dominion Empire, now lay defenseless, its once ornate cities and monuments reduced to smoldering ruins. On the bridge, tension mounted once again when an unexpected message arrived from High Chancellor Rakus, the Dominion's fearsome leader. His reptilian visage, with dark emerald scales and piercing yellow eyes, filled the screen. You stand at the gates of my world, he intoned, what will you do? With no hint of hesitation, Varian responded, what I have done to every world before this. Rakus seemed momentarily taken aback, then proposed a surrender, withdraw your forces, stop this war, and we will recognize humanity as an equal power. Return our prisoners and sign a non-aggression pact that will last for generations. For a fleeting second, hope glimmered in the war room, hope that perhaps, just maybe, the cycle of bloodshed might end. But Varian's reply was devastatingly cold, we do not shake hands and move on. You created this war. This is not a fight for survival, it is extermination. Rakus' eyes narrowed, and with grim finality Varian turned to his crew, prepare the Hellstorm missiles. I want Coron Prime wiped from the maps. No one questioned his order. The reckoning of Coron Prime and an unexpected alliance. Coron Prime's defenses were futile. The missiles struck in unison, reducing the Dominion's proud capital to a graveyard of shattered spires and smoldering ash. Human warships tracked every explosion and crumbling monument with grim satisfaction, yet the quiet that followed was not triumphant. Intercepted transmissions revealed that distant empires, the Tani, several ancient confederacies, and even remnants of the long-subdued Vishari dissidents, were now watching in horror. Some congratulated the humans, others demanded answers. Whispers and rumors began circulating, humanity was now being called, the Butchers of Coron, a phrase that stung with moral ambiguity. Before a chance for reflection could take hold, another alert shattered the silence. "Sir, a large-scale energy surge in deep space," Lieutenant Morrow reported. Varian's brow furrowed as data streamed in. A gravitational anomaly was forming well beyond any mapped territory, a rupture in spacetime itself. "This isn't just an anomaly, it's a rift," Varian declared. The crew's unease deepened when sensor readings revealed movement within the rift, a swirling mass of darkness yielding unnatural silhouettes of colossal ships. The enemy, it seemed, was not yet done. A voice crackled over the comms from Captain Darnell of the Vanguard. "What the hell are we looking at?" The reply was neither speech nor static but a deep, resonant noise that pressed upon every mind aboard. In a moment of crisis, Morrow confirmed that these shadowy vessels, massive beyond comprehension and shifting between states of solidity and void, were advancing toward human space. For the first time, the crew realized that while they had annihilated the Dominion, they might have awakened an ancient, otherworldly threat. Varian ordered, "Do not retreat. If they reach human space, everything we've built will be lost." The bridge erupted in controlled chaos, weapons systems were realigned, and every available defensive measure was engaged. As the Nemesis and the fleet entered the rift, a brilliant yet terrifying plan emerged. "Sir," Holt interjected, "if we overload the rift's entry point with the Nemesis core detonation, we might collapse it. That would cut these shadow ships off, but it means sacrificing our flagship." Varian stared at her, his expression resolute despite the gravity of her words. "Humanity has survived extinction before by making impossible choices. The Nemesis was built to win wars. Prepare for final approach. Into the unknown." The Nemesis surged into the rift carrying a payload strong enough to collapse the anomaly, while the surviving human ships fell back to carry word of what had transpired. In the battle that ensued, enemy shadow ships attacked relentlessly. The Nemesis countered with devastating railgun fire and adaptive defensive arrays, engaging in a desperate dance of survival against adversaries that seemed to defy the laws of physics. For every enemy vessel destroyed, more emerged from the chaos of the rift. Holt's voice trembled over the intercom, "Sir, there is no end to them." Varian gritted his teeth and barked, "We cannot run. If we retreat, they follow, and if they reach human space, our war is truly lost." In those final moments, the crew understood that this was not just another battle, it was the ultimate reckoning. As the Nemesis charged deeper into the swirling void, sensors began to indicate a destabilization in the rift structure. "If we overload its entry point at the right frequency, it may collapse," Varian explained. "Prepare for detonation in 10 seconds. Holt met his gaze, an unspoken promise passing between them. "See you on the other side," she murmured. "No, you won't," Varian replied with a grim smile. With that, the Nemesis unleashed a burst of energy so powerful it tore through space itself. The explosion was brilliant and terrible, a controlled annihilation designed to collapse the rift and seal away the ancient threat. In an instant, the shadow ships vanished with the implosion, and silence fell over the battlefield. As the surviving human fleet regrouped, a cold truth settled over them. Humanity had sacrificed its greatest warship to save its future, but the price of victory was the ever-growing stain on its soul. Epilogue: The Cost of Vengeance. In the weeks that followed, humanity's triumph over the Dominion and the cosmic threat was met with a mixture of awe and horror. Diplomatic messages poured in from across the galaxy, some congratulatory, others condemning the brutal tactics that had earned them the moniker, Butchers. The Tani envoy reappeared, urging restraint and promising a future of balanced alliances, while dissent simmered among those who questioned whether absolute vengeance was worth the price of moral decay. Admiral Varian, now a man marked by both victory and loss, stood before a holographic display of star systems. The records showed empires mobilizing, tentative alliances forming, and the undeniable truth: humanity would forever be a force feared and respected in equal measure. In that silence, as distant voices debated the ethics of war and the cost of retribution, Varian quietly sent a final message to the galaxy. "Humanity will not start wars, but if you raise your hand against us, we will finish them." Thus, the galaxy was forever changed, a stark reminder that in the pursuit of vengeance, the line between justice and monster was perilously thin, and the scars of war would echo for generations to come.